Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Apex Greatness. I am your host, Russell Broderick. This way.
Dario's wrong, Russell's right.
This way is Dario Albuquerque. Off camera is the fairy godmother Lindsay Lehman.
Hello.
I knew you were going to point whatever direction I didn't point because you knew I was wrong.
Me?
Yeah.
I literally can't never tell what direction you're really pointing at because I have you set up differently than how we are set up.
Well, that's always what happens. It always ends up being a different way than we expect. But This is Apex Greatness, and the NBA Finals of 2021 ended last night.
Beneath them.
And you might wonder, well, maybe you're not. If you're probably a big basketball fan, you're probably not surprised at all why I have this up right now. But you might be wondering why I'm playing highlights from Shaq's dominant 2000 Finals versus Reggie Miller and the Indiana Pacers. Shaq was a mastodon in this series. He dominated inside. He completely destroyed at both ends of the court, offense and defense, right?
Yeah.
Average 30, we have the stats up.
38, 14 and something. 15, 38, 15, I think.
Ooh, not bad. 38, 17, 3 blocks, right? I'm hearing many, many comparisons to Shaquille O'Neal. Ready? You ready for the biggest zag of all time, Mr. Dario?
Yeah.
I do not think that this is the most accurate finals comparison for what we saw in the 2021 NBA Finals from the Finals MVP. This is the 1976 ABA Finals, and this is Dr. J, the man who went basically against a team of NBA All-Stars in the Denver Nuggets, or what would go on to be NBA All-Stars in the Denver Nuggets. And Dr. J put up 38, 14, 5 assists, and almost a block a game, but same kind of situation. And Dr. J got his points the same way that Giannis Antetokounmpo got his points this season. Giannis, 35, 13, 5, a steal and a block, basically 2 blocks in the NBA Finals. And I'm convinced that he was not this guy before this series. What do you think? What do you think?
I think he was always this guy.
Okay.
I just think he was too stubborn to be this guy.
Elaborate on that.
So I think he was so dead set on wanting to prove that he can develop his game to where he could be a shooter.
Right.
And add shooting into his game.
Yeah.
But I think once he got to this moment, he saw how close it was, and he fed off of what he was great at. So he became an attacker of the basket.
Yeah.
Like he knew that he was great at that, and he knows that he's not a great shooter, but he wants to develop that shooting to prove that he can develop it, because he doesn't want to just lean, based off his interviews too, he doesn't want to just lean on everything that he's great at. He wants to be able to just develop as a player, which is cool and all. But once the going got tough and it was like, you're here and you can win an NBA championship, I think he was like, I just have to do what I'm great at: attacking the basket, and playing great defense and protecting the rim.
I always thought he had it in him until about a month ago, where he had every opportunity to be this guy that we saw last night, and really waited until I think Game 7 against Brooklyn to do something kind of like this, but I don't think that's nearly the same guy we saw last night. Maybe he had some decent games against Atlanta before he got the hyperextension. that's still not the guy we saw last night. This guy is better than those guys, like way better. Just
than the Giannis.
than the Giannis
Like
from even a month ago.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's so funny because on this program, I've compared Giannis to Shaq probably before your favorite personality on television and more than your favorite personality on television. And when everyone wants to call him Giannis, I am not, or everyone wants to call Giannis Shaq, excuse me. I looked at Dr. J's numbers and I was like, this is probably a more accurate comparison. And I just find it funny that those two things have nothing to do with each other, but it just seems like I'm a big basketball hipster. Because I'm just running away from everyone.
I really do think, like, I could see why you have to compare. Like, the only thing that makes it so hard with Dr. J, since it was like 40 years ago when he was doing this, it doesn't look exactly the same. Like, to me, what Giannis really looks like is a mix of Shaq and LeBron. We've talked about it so many times, but I completely see when you show me like the film of Dr. J and how he was playing. Like, it looks very similar to Giannis. Obviously, Giannis's dribbling is like much more advanced than
but it's the same stuff. It's all about hop steps and this like weird rudimentary post game that Giannis
and even the passing and stuff. Like they're both pretty good passers and
unselfish,
facilitating offense. Yeah,
he's put himself by doing this right. So game 6 for Giannis, he puts up 50, right? 50 points on 25 shots.
I'm so proud of him, man.
We talk about
like 51 points out of like their 105 points or some crazy.
I'm assuming if you're watching this NBA Finals preview that I'm not going out of my way to tell people about, you probably watch our Legacy Breakdown series. If you don't, check out Michael Jordan's Legacy Breakdown. But in Michael Jordan's Legacy Breakdown, I feel like we constantly are bringing up the percentage of his team's points that he is consistently scoring over and over and over again, right? The Bucks minus Giannis, from a shooting standpoint, sucked a fat dick. 5 players scored.
Yeah.
For the whole team. I don't know when was the last time you saw that?
That's crazy.
When was the last time you saw that?
If you look at that stat line, you would totally expect, especially in the modern day NBA, you would totally expect the Bucks to have lost this game. I did not notice that.
And that's the other point I wanted to make, is this game was these past few games, but specifically this last game 6, they were treated like a late 90s game and they were officiated more like a late 90s game.
Mm-hmm.
And
I do want, because I saw that you wrote that on the notes, and
the
NBA Finals has consistently been like that. That's not to me. That's not as new as people make it seem. Like throughout the whole regular season, 100%. The defensive officiating has changed, but in the actual finals, it's always been like that. Like, they let them play.
I think that's the biggest reason why a guy like James Harden has problems in the playoffs, is because of the rules changing on him. And one thing's a foul in the regular season that's not in the postseason. But the reason why I make light of it, even though I agree with you that it's not exactly new news, is many like to say how soft today's league is and how different it is from a fouls perspective. And we talked about in Michael Jordan's Legacy Breakdown how Michael Jordan's getting choke slammed in the playoffs, and that's just not happening in today's NBA, which is still not. But there was a lot of physicality in this game. There was a lot of even though Phoenix came away with the loss, there was a sense of urgency on both teams. Yeah, for sure.
And like, come on, we had a game where Devin Booker had 8 fouls. Like, they were 100% letting them play. Everybody knew it. Everybody talked about it all over like basketball, like culture. Like, they knew.
So I need to talk about something. like we flip flopped on Giannis Antetokounmpo at the exact same point, right? I left that Nets Bucks series feeling not confident at all about Giannis, feeling like he.
Well, we flip flopped from the very beginning of the postseason.
Yeah, that's true.
Because both had Nets beating Bucks,
Yeah.
and I had Bucks beating the Nets, but for totally different reasons than what happened.
Yeah, well, me too. I had Nets beating the Bucks for totally different reasons.
Yeah, and I had Bucks beating the Nets, but the only reason I feel like they lost, they ended up winning was because of injury. But
but besides the point, we flip flopped on that, and literally ever since that moment, he's slowly been on this ascent to becoming the guy I always thought he could be.
He just needed you to give up on him.
He just needed me to jump off the moving fucking bandwagon and leave it without a driver.
Yeah. And I just picked up for you.
and it's amazing. It's amazing because I was so worried about his terrible free throw shooting that historically in his career personally was not a big Achilles heel for him. It really wasn't. It wasn't to the level it had become this postseason and season. He was a relatively average free throw shooter in comparison. He became an abysmal free throw shooter, which fucked his whole game up. Because when he becomes afraid to shoot those free throws, he does not attack the basket, and that's what creates all those 3-point shots.
Mm-hmm.
This fucking game 6, he said, "I'm getting there. I'm getting to the line. I don't care."
I think he was like 13 or 14 at one point.
Right, like he missed it. He split the free throws to get 50, and that was the second free throw that he missed.
Yeah.
But he was on fire, and he had so much confidence that whatever, I'm either gonna get the fucking dunk or you're gonna foul me.
Yeah.
And then he started going to the post move that he'd been working on all regular season. It was something that I had mentioned during the regular season. It was something we talked about in the playoffs as he was going along, that there was a glimmer of a post game, right? And then he starts hitting these sweet fadeaways on the baseline and on the foul, basically from the foul line. They were, and you said they were Kobe-esque. I didn't say that. You did.
Yeah, yo, when I think it was game 5 for sure. It wasn't game 6.
Yeah.
But when he did that little baseline post turnaround and he made it over the defender, I texted the group chat and I said, Giannis is doing Kobe post moves, Bucks in 6. Because it was over at that point. I'm like, if you're doing this, it's over. There's no way anybody can fuck with you.
And
if this is not an anomaly, and he can really play like this, like throughout the rest of his career, he has taken the reins of best player in the league.
This is my next question. That was exactly where I wanted to go next, and I wanted to ask both you guys this question. With 2 MVPs, a chip and a Finals MVP, and not just a Finals MVP like an Iguodala Finals MVP or a Kawhi when he was on the Spurs MVP, but a real all-you Finals MVP, right?
Yeah.
Does this reopen his GOAT case, number 1? And number 2, are we too fickle with today's talent? Like, do we not give them enough time? Because he's the same age he's a little bit younger than Jordan when Jordan won his first chip. He's about the same age as Shaq, right?
Wait, so for the GOAT case, I think his GOAT case has never been in jeopardy.
Okay.
I think what he so him losing to the Heat obviously made him look bad.
Right.
But it was not like to me, LeBron's GOAT case became in jeopardy after that 2011 finals. Because that was like that, and still to this day people hold that against him.
Yeah.
But like what Giannis did was nowhere near as bad as that.
You know something though? We've looked at all these different guys' legacies, and every single one of them's got one of these.
And his is not that bad. Like, Kobe has the air ball against Utah. Like
yeah,
that's like his,
and Kobe's got the 08 Celtics finals.
yeah, but I mean, even with that, like that,
If
I'm
you're
not
talking about two
because
different
it's just gonna
chapters of
make
his
no.
career, those
Yeah,
are the air balls and the 08 finals are the two moments for
yeah,
him.
are the two moments that like at least he
Um,
always harps to.
Jordan
Um,
Pistons, Magic, Tragic Johnson moment.
Yeah,
Uh,
Larry, his first finals, he did ass.
but even Larry in the college championship when they went undefeated for
Yeah.
Indiana State and he lost to Magic,
Hmm.
they all have them. They all have
Yeah.
these moments that
All of the top 10 players probably have that. Tim Duncan doesn't really have anything.
that bastard. I mean, it would be the 2014 finals, honestly, where he has
Yeah.
that amazing game and it's the Ray Allen.
But
shot.
it's still not. It's
the
not him.
closest thing though for him. You're right.
Yeah.
That's the closest thing though for him.
I'd have to really look into it for Timmy. I mean, Kobe did like give him the little stiff arm a bunch of times in the playoffs, but
Very true. Yeah, the Lakers and those Shaq and Kobe versus the Timmy and David Robinson.
all of the top 10 guys, like everyone has it at least. Yeah, everybody has
something.
it.
Everybody's got something.
What you always say is they have that adversity or the mountain that they had to climb afterwards.
Right.
And we actually were having like a text argument about this before because I was like, I think the Heat was that because you were like, you think this year is when that's going to happen and then he's going to have to climb in. I thought the Heat would have been that, and then he had to climb, and then it makes all the sense because that issue that they had with the Heat last year was why Drew Holiday came in, was why Chris Tucker came in. You know, sorry, PJ Tucker, not Chris.
No, I didn't even. It's fucked up. I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, PJ, my bad. PJ is a little fool though, you know, but
I think in a way we're both kind of right though, and this is weird because this has happened with it happened with Trae Young this season too, where the adversity happened to them in the middle of the playoffs, and then they got over it. That like it all happened so much quicker. Like for most guys, it happens over seasons of time. Like they get that next level, but
for what, the Bucks?
Because even Giannis, like I said, the Giannis who played the Nets and the Giannis who played in this fucking NBA Finals are two different guys. I genuinely believe that. Like,
well, okay.
Something changed in his game after. Well,
you're talking about why he started dominating. I'm going to tell you one thing: the Nets were smart enough to try to build the wall. They just didn't. They're just not the greatest defense. The issue, like, if we really want to break down what happened in the game, Phoenix was trying to play Giannis. They tried to put DeAndre Ayton straight up with Giannis Antetokounmpo, and unfortunately, he's first year in the playoffs, 22-year-old kid,
phenomenal playoffs.
Yeah, he was phenomenal. But when you're asking him to face a two-time MVP and arguably a top 5 player in the league, 1-on-1, he's gonna get cooked. And
here's the counter, though. The only counter is we saw him do it to the Joker.
All right. So he did it to the Joker, and he did it to Anthony Davis. But the difference is they don't play like Giannis. Giannis plays a completely different game. He's attacking consistently, and all that did was make DeAndre Ayton have foul trouble throughout the whole series.
This is the first time all playoffs because Joker. Remember what Joker did to Nurkic in round 1? Just put him in foul trouble every single game. Ayton came in, couldn't do that to Ayton at all. Ayton stayed on the floor and was able to hit his free throws.
Yeah, and the thing with Ayton is he was always fast and agile enough to where he didn't have to. Because the thing with Joker is it's obviously a completely different game between Joker and Giannis. But Joker always uses your athleticism against you.
Yeah,
Ayton was pretty disciplined in his way of guarding, and he wasn't jumping around and he wasn't going for all the fakes. He was just on them because he knows I'm faster than this dude. I can stay with this dude, and pretty much is if I stop this dude, we win this series, and which is why they swept him. You know,
right?
But with Giannis, it's like you can't stay in front of this guy. He's faster than you. Everyone thought his knee was going to be the issue, and his knee was from game 1, and game 1 was probably the only time that he seemed like, all right, maybe he's not 100%. And from game 2 and on, he was just it was like a demolition, and he was just like, if you're gonna be in front of me, I'm gonna take you out.
When we look back when we inevitably do Giannis's legacy breakdown in 20 years and we're filthy rich, we'll this will be the finals that we talk about that it changed for him. I feel pretty confident in that.
His breakout moment is in the finals, is what you're saying?
This is the moment where he went from being, because I think next year, and I think going forward, as you were discussing whether it would be an anomaly or not, barring the fact that the obvious quick turnaround of this upcoming year, if he does not play like this going forward, he's doing his legacy a disservice, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And Shaq, this is something that Shaq learned at a younger age than Giannis, and it helped him going forward. But you have to accept what you're better than everybody else. You have to find your niche. Shaq always talks about how he was not the best or the most skilled center in basketball at any point in his career. He felt real strongly about that. Between Hakeem, Robinson, Ewing, he thought he was worse technically than all of those guys. Mm-hmm. But his niche was strength. Yeah. And for Giannis, it should be get to the basket, get my fouls, get free throws, because I'm either going to dunk it or I'm going to go to the foul line. And that's the most impressive part of this 50. Besides the fact that it's his first career 50-point game, was the free throws, like we were talking about. Yeah. That when he started making them, I think that's when it became the difference between a good closeout game and possibly the greatest closeout game that anybody's ever played, which is my next question. Is where does this rank for you amongst all-time closeout games? Need some examples? Need some quick ones?
Yeah, I need some references.
So Duncan, 2003, had the almost quadruple double to close out for that championship. Magic Johnson, obviously, rookie year. We talked about it here on this show with his, the triple double in the finals.
Yep.
1980.
The 45, 15, and
yeah. Michael Jordan, Last Dance. That game, completely one-man band. There's a couple of them that are in there.
Magic's for me is just this is up there. I think it's a top 5, top 10. Like I definitely think is up there. But Magic's the circumstances Magic had to go through, like Kareem getting injured, not being out for the season. Yeah. For the rest of the finals, and everyone expected it to be a scrimmage game where pretty much Philly beats the shit out of them for the next 2 games and win the NBA finals. And Magic said, "Fuck all that. I'm gonna be center, and I'm gonna wild out on y'all." Like that. That's legendary. But I think this is up there, definitely up there. Like a 50 piece. So 14 with 5 blocks, huh?
Let's change it then. Let's not say closeout. There are 3 50-point games in the finals that have happened in the last, since we've been born, let's say.
30 years?
We talked about...
No, there's more than that.
Not really.
There's Jordan, AI, LeBron, Giannis. I think that's it.
So AI's in there?
Yeah, AI had the 51.
Game 1, right?
1 year. And AI's is by far the most impressive.
You think AI's is the most impressive?
The only reason is because he won it. So
did Giannis.
Yeah, but 2000 Lakers or the Phoenix Suns.
But also, if we're
that's.
I think this is
2000 Lakers is arguably the greatest, a top 5 greatest team of all time.
No, and the same could be said for LeBron's game against the Warriors.
And they lost, though. That's the reason. If LeBron would have beat them, that would be my number 1. It would easily be LeBron, but he lost. And he also had horrible leadership at the end. If you guys want to know how we really feel about that, we broke that down in LeBron's legacy breakdown, and Russell will probably put this up somewhere.
True, I will. But I think this is the best 2-way game of those 50-point games, of the 4 we named. Because MJ...
But now you're just kind of reaching, though. Like, I feel like...
No, it's a two-way performance. I'm not reaching that hard.
I just feel like it's like that's like one of those
Well,
stats.
I think I understand where he's coming from because something that you guys always talk about is how hard it is to keep your offensive scoring up when you're putting that much effort in the defensive end.
Yep.
Precisely.
So I think outside of just reaching, it just kind of shows how impressive it is that he's able to score at that height, and then also
the only one that's
defense.
even comparable is Jordan in that sense.
Yeah, and I can't. And in that 55-point game he had on Barkley, I can't think of any insane defensive plays. Where with Giannis, I could think of like 3 different defensive.
But you watched it yesterday. That's the difference.
Look, man, I watched that '93 finals like 2 days ago when I edited it. I'm not thinking it wasn't that long ago for me.
Can we go to his stat line just to make sure? And I could just totally see Jordan having like 2 blocks, 3 steals, something like that, and then it's like
he averaged. It was 41 points for the finals.
No, yeah, I know, but I think it's game 4 is when he dropped the 55.
Oh yeah, I'm on it.
Like, I definitely think Giannis's 50 points is more impressive because it's a closeout. It's the end. Like, this is literally when the
no steals, no blocks for Jordan. Okay. Yeah. A rare no steals, no blocks.
Yeah, facts. But yeah, Giannis's is definitely more impressive than Jordan's in my opinion because it's a closeout game. You have a team playing at its most desperate. Like, they know my season is over if I don't win this game.
Yeah.
So you got the team has their full attention on you. Like a game 4, like sure it was like Jordan's was also desperation too because they went up I think 3-1 against
Well, that was the suit game, or no, that wasn't the suit game. But after that was the season where he said I'm only packing 1 suit.
Yeah.
Going into game 6.
Yeah.
Against Chuck.
Yeah. So yes, because they ended up they went down 3-1, I'm pretty sure, and then Phoenix won game 5 because they thought that they were gonna sweep, and then that's when they finished it off in game 6.
Correct. With the Paxson shot, but the reason why
I agree. I think I would say that Giannis is 50.
I think if we don't want to say best two-way, I'll just say out of those 50-point games, I think he played the hardest defense.
Oh, for sure.
I feel very comfortable with that.
And Jordan didn't have sure Giannis has some good defense on his side too, but Jordan had literally historically great defensive team. Freaking Scottie Pippen obviously is probably top 5, top 10 defensive player of all time. So like Giannis doesn't have that on his team. Like he has some good defense. Drew Holiday's defense on Chris Paul and Devin Booker cannot go untalked about because Devin Booker was stressed out against them. Like they literally had him off his game for sure. Like
I agree.
And it was to me, Drew Holiday was the best perimeter defender of that group. And there are some good perimeter defenders there. Like Middleton is a good defender. Freaking obviously PJ is one that everybody talks about. But I think Drew Holiday was 100% the best perimeter defender that they had. Like he was locking them up like crazy. Like even Giannis. Like Giannis obviously was a great rim protector, but he wasn't doing that on the perimeter. Like literally anytime Chris Paul had him in the perimeter, he would just dribble past them and just get his little fade away on the corner or whatever.
Is there a count for how many times Devin Booker threw his hands up after Drew Holiday played defense on him? Because I feel like that happened a lot. Like he gets so
like a bitch sometimes. Man.
Can we find a count for that?
So to me, 2 MVPs, final MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Most Improved. Like he has literally almost everything that NBA can give to you. That has to have him as possibly a top 20 player all time.
Dude, do you know what? You watched his full press conference, right? Yeah. Afterwards? Mm-hmm. One of the most interesting parts, and there were several interesting parts of that press conference, but one of my favorite was, if I had a time machine, I would go back so I could win Rookie of the Year as a rookie. And then I would go, and then he said, and later in my career, I want to come off the bench and win Sixth Man of the Year for
Yeah,
Bud, so I can have all of the awards.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's fucking awesome.
Because nobody talk. That's why I love listening to him, because he literally talks as if he's a kid, like a kid who is still like in it.
Very
like,
Shaq-like. Very
Yeah.
Shaq-like.
Yeah.
It-
Yeah,
it-
but I mean, even
flashy demeanor.
like he's so much more humble though. Like Shaq, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
The guy was selling fucking fake watches on the streets of Greece.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Like,
exactly.
For
Forget.
nothing.
Yeah.
But to your point, I think also
That's a short list of guys. Those accomplishments that he has in his 7-8 years, like that's.
Does he also have, like, I know this is stupid, but he's got an All-Star MVP too, right? Like, he's got like literally everything that he could put in a trophy case at this point, except for Rookie of the Year.
So Giannis Antetokounmpo was drafted by the Bucks and wins Finals MVP.
Mm-hmm.
In the last 10 years, short of Kawhi Leonard, who is people argue about him winning Finals MVP to this day for that particular year.
And if you guys want to know who those people are, you're looking at them.
Yeah. And we went into it in LeBron's Legacy Breakdown, available in our archives. Check that shit out.
Yeah.
But Dirk, Kobe, Pierce, right?
Mm-hmm.
This era, Parker. It used to happen. Wade, Duncan, all drafted.
All of them.
All drafted.
Phillips, yeah.
Right? This generation is the generation, as Giannis alluded to in his press conference, of joining each other and making super teams.
Yep.
I've kind of accepted that that's part of the game at this point. But in 2011, 10 years ago, it was one of the most frowned upon things in all of basketball's history that LeBron went to Miami to join the Miami Heat, right? And I only am reminded of why that was such a big deal when I look at this. And I just think, holy shit, LeBron for the Lakers, not drafted by the Lakers. Kawhi, not drafted by the Raptors. Durant, obviously not drafted by the Warriors. Iguodala, not drafted by the Warriors. Like, it's just this list of mercenaries.
Yeah.
And that's when you hear people like Michael Wilbon and Stephen A. Smith say this means more. That's what they're referring to. Do you think it means more?
Yes, 100%. No, there's no doubt about it. Like it's because him and Middleton are the only players from that team that were there when it was like when they got drafted.
Yeah.
And back in 2014.
I have that picture of their 2K ratings and shit. That'll be on your screen.
Yeah, and literally they grew with that team and built it from scratch.
Yeah.
Like, whether anybody wants to say, asterisk or whatever with this, like, at the end of the day, you built something that you had. The Bucks were a bottom team. Like, no one gave a shit about the Bucks. No, I remember we actually were I was looking at text messages back from 2017 when you were telling me that the Bucks were gonna be that you're looking at the Bucks and you're thinking they're gonna be the next big thing or whatever, and I didn't really think much of it, and then now they're freaking in the NBA Finals. I think the Bucks were good enough to get to the NBA Finals either way. Yeah. Like, sure, injuries and all this shit could have been, but that was one of those teams that you always looked at as a contender. You felt like they were missing something, but you always looked at them like there's a possibility.
No, you're good.
Yeah, no, keep on.
When I was in college, I would make all these creative guys in 2K, and one of them that I made all the time, and it was one of my friends who came over and played with the creative guys. He loved this idea for a player. It was the 7-foot long as fuck point guard. It didn't exist yet, but a guy who could handle, get to the cup, and like and do crazy layups and shit. He didn't exist yet, right? Fast forward to around that 2016, 2017 time, and my buddy, because Jason Kidd's coaching them, and my buddy's a big Nets fan, And he goes, dude, you got to see this guy, Giannis, the guy they drafted out of nowhere, the Greek kid.
Yeah.
He was like, he's your guy. He's the guy you made. He's the 7-foot point guard. Jason Kidd's been playing him at point guard. And I was like, no fucking way. And I watched the highlights and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
He's real. So that's why he became my favorite player, because I felt like I felt like I created him in my mind.
Yeah, that's awesome. I never heard that story before.
And and also ironically, the other creative player that I always make became Joel Embiid, which is the other weird. It's really weird. It's really weird how that worked out.
Well, Joel Embiid is literally that guy you probably created because you were thinking of Hakeem. Because
I was just thinking, what if you combine Shaq and Hakeem Olajuwon? You'll get that guy with like a cool little jump and like only a standing shot.
What does Joel have than Hakeem? He's got like 20, 30 pounds over him, you think?
Maybe something like that. It'll be on your screen. I'll have the two bios. So
yeah.
But no, I bring that up to say, I don't know if for me personally it means more right now that he did it for Milwaukee, but ask me again when we start the season. Maybe I'll feel differently when time passes.
You don't think him doing it for Milwaukee means more than Kevin Durant doing it for Golden State?
Oh, that's for sure. But I don't know if
yeah.
I don't know if it means more than LeBron doing it in Miami, personally. But ask me again at the start of the season. I might feel different.
That's just to counter. Yeah, Giannis literally had the same shit that LeBron had, like same situation where his contract's over. He had all rights to leave if he wanted to. I think you even mentioned last year that he might leave, and
he mentioned it. It was front page news. Giannis to the Knicks.
Yeah,
Giannis
exactly. And I think at least we talked about it. And we thought that he wouldn't because of his loyalty.
You definitely felt like he didn't. I just wanted to see this guy.
I know you wanted that for sure.
I just wanted this to
at least either Budenholzer out of here or
whatever it took to make the guy I saw last night happen. Whatever it took.
Yeah. But the whole thing is he was like, and I mean this is great about him. Like his stubbornness was like, no, I'm gonna do it how I want to do it, kind of thing. And that's what I find admirable. And like he pretty much did what LeBron James couldn't do. Like whether we want to say asterisk or not, he still got the job done. LeBron had to go through a whole fucking college reunion thing in Miami, learn shit to come back and be able to do what he wanted to do. Yeah. And it took him 5 years after that to figure it out. Giannis, the very next year, said, "Just give me two more boys that I can add on to this team, and we're gonna make a run." And either way, I really do feel like they would have gave Brooklyn a run for their money, anyways. Maybe they would have lost in that series, but that's the only series that I feel like they would have possibly lost. Everything else, I feel like is legitimate.
It's gonna be hilarious when in 10, 15 years, if Giannis becomes one of these great players, these all-time greats. I think we might look at this team as not as good as we remember it because of all the injuries and all the whatever, and mainly because of what you just said. And it's something we did talk about during Michael Jordan's legacy breakdown. He added 2 dudes, right? Those 2 dudes do what's their number one specialty for both of them?
Defense.
Allows Giannis to still be the main bucket getter, right? Not that he's creating this, but what I'm saying is it's what's going to make his legacy look.
I don't want to jump to my other points. We have to continue with our path. So, do you believe that this is still an asterisk title?
Damn, I did until you made that spiel about LeBron. That was good. That was good.
Well. Like, that's the whole thing. Is like I like to like
it real well
these guys because we gotta humanize them because sometimes we forget that these
you're my asterisk. You were my go-to guy on asterisks because I don't.
This is my thing.
I don't think like that. But
and I do this for everybody. This is not like I don't.
Okay, so wait.
a guy.
So the
Oh, no, you,
Bucks, the Bucks. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm trying to
no,
think of this. The Bucks, the first round was a clean sweep of the Heat, which there wasn't really any big injuries in it,
Oh,
right?
I forgot about that. And that's
So
context too. Getting over the demon in round
I
Mhm.
one.
know.
That's
okay, and so then round two they had
a
the
team that
Nets,
would have.
right?
You can't notice. I'm mad happy for them. Like I have no reason to. I was like last year. I even like got pissed about it. Giannis. I remember like you were defending him and everything.
Did it
But
all over him.
I believed them in them to at least beat the Nets.
Yeah, so round one legitimate. Round two is the
Yeah.
questionable one. Round three, legitimate win against the Hawks, right? There were no big
Yeah.
injuries.
Well,
Except for Trae
Trae Young
Young.
got injured, but Giannis got injured and was out.
Yeah.
Trae Young came back. Giannis didn't, and they
So they
still
kind of
beat.
like
So to
evened
me,
out.
that's straight up legitimate.
Okay.
True.
And then the finals, the Suns didn't have any injuries besides Saric, right? So
Yep. Nope. Yeah, I think that was the only
I'm pretty
major.
sure it's just Saric. Yeah, that was the major one.
There was
Maybe
one
other
other.
people were nicked up, but still, like everybody nicked up.
DeAndre Ayton was the only major big that they had.
Yeah, and so and I would have said this, and I don't know if I did say this in the preview, but to me, yeah, they had the tougher run getting to the finals. Because they went against, to me, more legitimate competition to where they would have went through them anyways. I feel like the Suns had got a lot of luck because of injuries in against each team that they faced, and also the guard play that they had was nowhere near as good defensively than this guard play, and I think that's what really fucked with them in this playoffs was the playoff series was Booker and Chris Paul had good defensive guards that they had to go against, and it obviously gave them trouble.
Yeah, and that was your big thing about their whole playoff run.
Yeah,
was
100%.
Was that that you felt like Chris Paul looked great against guys who he was supposed to look great against,
Yeah.
which I felt like in the moment that it was like a really big moment for Chris Paul, and the Suns were favorites in this finals.
Yeah.
So
I think it was mainly because of Giannis' injury, though. I think people going in,
but
in terms of asterisk, just to sum it up, I'm gonna keep the asterisk on it, and I think, but it's gonna be short lived because I do think they're gonna make up for it next year.
Wow.
I think they may not win the championship, but I think they go deep and they make where team to stay.
Wow.
And I have backup for that. But first, I would like to hear about how you feel about Chris Middleton.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I just love this because I've been dealing with this for like a couple weeks now. You guys see this every 2 weeks or something. I gotta hear this, like as a friend. So I'd like to.
Chris Middleton with the ring next to his name is just kind of ridiculous. But
that's ridiculous. That's your reaction.
You can't.
All right, look. First round, he hit a sweet game winner. He was awesome, right? He played well.
Mm-hmm.
Second round, he played really well down the stretch. He did. There's just no getting around it. He played really well. And they don't make it to the NBA Finals if he doesn't become an alpha in the Eastern Conference Finals at the end.
You sound like you want to throw up. Like
it's just
this
nauseating.
is like someone trying to like be convinced to take medicine.
Oh, this is just.
He has to do this every year. He picks the player, sits on them, and they just wild out. Like this is awesome. Keep on. What else?
Like, I gotta pick somebody I like next year to shit on to make sure that they do awesome. But
you did that with Giannis, right?
But I am. Yeah, I did. That's true.
That's true. Of both worlds. You just gotta get.
But I'm sorry, Chris Middleton. You are a competent, quality second guy on a championship team. and I can't believe I'm saying that. I can't believe it. I can't fucking believe it. This guy hit hit big shots down the stretch, right? Even in Game 6, he hit shots to keep that lead at the end of the fourth. And I just don't. I don't know. I hope he maintains this level of play.
Yeah. So that's why I wanted you to go first before I went on my little thing. So there's a reason that we, not only because Russ wanted to do the whole Shaq and Giannis comparison with the 2000 Lakers to the 2021 Bucks. I also wanted to do some comparisons, and in the middle of the postseason, I think I finally texted you and said, I really do think your Giannis comparisons to Shaq are legitimate.
Fair.
Right?
Yeah.
And then I started once we got up to Game 4, this was before Middleton's 40 piece. I started looking at this and I'm like, I really do think there's a Kobe Shaq comparison here.
Oh my God.
And I know that sounds insane. I'm not saying that Middleton plays like Kobe because I would never say that.
Even though it's like a poor man's style. It's similar.
Yeah. Oh, very poor man. But to me, what Middleton does, he has Kobe's dribble pull-up game without the athleticism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Kobe always had he could attack the basket.
Yeah.
And that's what made him lethal and made him that superstar that he was.
Yeah.
But if you do a comparison to if you go to the 2020 Lakers and we look at the regular season,
2000 Lakers, you mean?
Sorry. 2000 Lakers, and we look at a comparison from Kobe and Shaq's regular season. Shaq averages 29, 14, and 4. Obviously playing a very similar but different than Giannis, where all of their points are in the paint. But obviously Giannis is more of a ball handler. Giannis is averaging for the regular season 28, 11, and 6 for 2021, which is eerily similar, right?
Yeah.
Then we got Kobe's regular season, where he's averaging 23, 6, and 5, and Middleton's averaging 20, 6, and 5. Okay? I already explained Middleton, Kobe, the only similarities are more with the shooting. They even shoot very similar field goal percentages. Like it's like, I'm not saying that he's the next Kobe Bryant, but I'm saying the duo is comparable in terms of productivity. We go to the postseason, and this is where it gets scary. Shaq averages 31, 15, and 3 in the postseason. You got Giannis averaging a 30 piece. So similar between him and Shaq. And we already knew that. Everybody's been making the Shaq and Giannis comparison, but I feel like people are missing the Middleton Kobe comparison because Middleton honestly elevates in the playoffs, averaging 24, 6, and 5, something like that. Right. And Kobe is averaging 21, 4, and 4 in the playoffs. Again, playing differently, but productivity is actually better for Middleton, and they needed him a lot in like the Eastern Conference Finals. Without him, they wouldn't have even went to the finals. So this is what my prediction is for the Bucks moving forward. I think if Giannis does maintain that what he did this finals, if he can do that for the rest of his career, he takes LeBron's mantle at best player in the league. Even without him doing that, because I did not expect him doing that before I made this little comparison thing. I was expecting Chris Middleton next year will average 25, 5, and 5.
Wow.
And I think he will become a superstar in the league.
If you're right, I will have more apologizing to do. I love being wrong on people. I don't have a position where I can't.
No, yeah, and that's why it's so dope to do a show with you, because it's like, because it's like at least you know if you feel like something you said was wrong, you'll say it, and I like to do that for the most part. Sometimes I'm stubborn about it, but with Chris Middleton, I look at this as what it did to Kobe, because we got to remember 2000 Kobe was not that Kobe Bryant. I always say that because I remember when we would talk about when we did Larry Bird's legacy breakdown and we had him go against the 2000 Lakers, and I said that I feel like Kobe wouldn't do as good against Bird, and it was because he's not that guy yet, and it's because that championship did something to him to where it gave him that boost of confidence to where he became he went to that next tier. And I feel like Chris Middleton hitting big shots throughout the whole playoffs, big shots in the NBA Finals, and big shots to close out that game last night, that boosts his confidence to the utmost degree, and I think he's going to become a superstar next year. Maybe it's not 25. If it's 24, 5 and 5, you can't hold it against me. It's still the same shit.
If that happens and Giannis maintains his thing, I think Giannis is going to get another MVP or two before his shit is over.
And the beautiful part about Giannis and Middleton, and this is why I think this is like a fierce thing to keep on, is Kobe and Shaq. The biggest issue was their ego, and when you look at it, Shaq was first round pick, the first pick in the first round. Yep.
Yeah.
Kobe was a first round pick, 13th overall. Middleton came from the G League. Yeah. He worked his way up. Giannis wasn't even. I don't think Giannis was.
Giannis, as we found out in his interview last night, asked to go to the G League at one point in his career.
Yeah. So really, these are guys that come from very humble backgrounds where they both work their way up and they work their way up together. So I feel like Middleton understands Giannis is the superstar. We play best when he's the guy and he knows his role. His role is to close out games. Middleton was as you would say, ass soup throughout most of the game, and he closed it out. It's one thing to go 4 for like 20, and then when you need the biggest shots, you make the last 2 biggest shots. You know what I mean?
No, you're right. And I credit him for being big when they absolutely needed him multiple times in this playoffs.
Yeah.
I gotta just accept that. Yeah.
And I feel like it's hard for people to look at that and be like, Kobe, Shaq. Obviously, they might not both be top 10 players all time when it's all said and done, but I think it's a very similar in productivity.
Now, I'm just mad I didn't come up with the Dr. J thing sooner, because fuck me, it's more appropriate to call him peak Dr. J than it is to call him peak Shaquille O'Neal. Because I still think, because Shaq did an interview recently where he called himself Giannis, and that's when I started to look at it and go, I don't know if you dribble like that, big fella. You don't really dribble like that. The biggest.
It was young Shaq. Young Shaq was very similar, but it's still not to that degree in dribbling.
This is my point. The biggest difference between Shaq and Giannis, the biggest difference, and why I started leaning towards the Dr. J thing is Shaq. Yeah, he could every once in a while bring the ball up coast to coast and dunk it and do his thing. But you had to get him the ball in order for him to make a play. Giannis can bring the ball up every single time if he wanted to.
This is why I guess you can't use things that I've told you to, like, that bothers me when you do that, because when I tell you at the time, you make me feel like I'm crazy, and then you use it later. I don't like that.
But that's also just from looking at, hey, it takes time. It takes time. I think about things. And then when you look at 70s Dr. J footage, you can literally see Giannis with a throw. You can see it the whole time he's playing.
He kind of has a little.
Where Shaq, you see Shaq elbow people and dunk it. It's not. They don't.
Yeah.
The stats are similar, and obviously the finals and the dominance in the paint is similar. Mm-hmm. But Dr. J and Giannis got buckets the exact same way, in a weird parallel, because Dr. J could never shoot in his whole career. Was known, and MJ for a long time was known as Dr. J with a jump shot.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy. Yeah. And think about how bad Jordan's jump shot was for a long time. But I love that Kobe Shaq comparison. And if you're right,
this is what I've been wanting to tell you.
I'll be pumped if you're right. Really? This is an awesome revelation.
Yeah.
'Cause I
It's
didn't
not
see
even
it.
like after this part, after that game, and I had this waiting like from when we talked on the phone. I needed to say it. So,
And if, of course, if you disagree with Dario, make sure to comment.
yeah,
Make
let me
sure to
know
comment.
how much. I'm sure everybody disagrees with me.
Because Dario will read it.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I'm the biggest Kobe fan in the world, and I'm doing this little comparison. Not saying he's Kobe though. I need to say that like many times because I don't think he's going to be the next Kobe Bryant. But I think the duo could be comparable.
We got to do 2 more things, and then we're out of here.
All right.
I know what time it is.
We're gonna do the Phoenix.
We have to. It's only fair.
No, yeah, of course. I have stuff that I want to talk about.
Feeling for or shitting on CP3. Lindsay, go first.
Yeah.
I was disappointed in him.
Wow. Elaborate.
I felt like he disappeared in the important moments, and if he had not disappeared, they wouldn't have been playing behind in a game 6. They would have had, you know what I mean?
Do you buy the injury?
It's like the same old story.
Me, because I'm like putting my faces up and everything. I'm like,
I mean, sure, I guess, but then if that's true, he played better in game 6, so I don't know. I think it's bullshit. I think he just disappeared in game 4 when they could have gone up, and I don't know.
So I'll continue with that. So for one, injury wise, if anybody talks to me about injuries, I think I would flip out. You can't go. All right, I could understand after the Lakers series we talk about injuries, but then when you average like 60, 70, and freaking 100 against the Nuggets, and then play amazing against the Clippers, and then you put up 22 and 8. Like that's not a bad stat line at all.
What do you remember? Game 1, after game 1, when they won, Chris Paul was interviewed and they asked him about the injury, and he said, "What injury?"
Yeah,
as if he was hiding something. If I can have that on your screen without getting copyrighted.
I thought he was more so trying to say it like that's not it.
Yeah, I thought he was more so trying to say he was fine. Yeah.
Oh, to me, it came off like he was like hiding something. Like what injury? And then he smiled and left. Like, if I can have it on your screen, I will. But sometimes the NBA.
I mean, to me, I would not. I don't do that for players.
I don't think
like you can't be inconsistent. Then, like you can't go and be amazing at one point and then sucky at one point, and then we didn't talk about your injuries. That's not what I'm never doing that.
So unless you're going to tell me he fought through it, which is also
Giannis literally looked like he ruptured he tore his ACL.
Yeah.
Like we literally saw, and not trying to add salt to your wounds, Lindsay, but we saw Kawhi Leonard go out with something like less than that, like way less than that, or like with a little ACL tour. There's no, I still refuse to believe that Giannis doesn't have any type of structural damage to his ACL. The way he fell, that's a bad injury. Like for him to get back for game 1 of the NBA Finals and never let up is amazing, and just in his like durability. But back to Chris Paul, he just is what I thought he was gonna be.
Wow.
I think he was overhyped, and I said that throughout the only. I don't care, man. Like in the beginning of our preview,
he's been saying it the whole time,
bro. And it's because I'm not gonna act like a player is better than what I thought he was when I've seen him play for 16 years. Whether we want to say it's because of injury or because of production, this has happened throughout his entire career. And then it just so happens that he gets to the moment, the NBA Finals, and somehow he freezes up in game 3. Game 3 and 4 having the most turnovers of the season. And he kind of just does what I expected him to do. What I said this 2 weeks ago. If Giannis plays, Bucks in 6. So I didn't believe in Chris Paul at all.
Chris Paul, with this loss, becomes the only player in NBA history to be up 2-0 4 times and lose, or to be up 2-0 and lose the series. He's done it 4 times. Excuse me.
Oh, okay.
He's the only player in NBA history to do that. In 2008 versus the Spurs, he was up 2-0, lost in 7. In 2013 versus the Grizzlies, I remember that one vividly with Lindsay.
Yeah.
And I got to make fun. I think that's more Blake Griffin's fault than Chris Paul's, but he's on the list.
Blake Griffin got eaten by Zach Randolph.
Yeah, he got fucked up. That'll be on your screen. 2016 versus the Blazers. I don't even remember that one, but they were up 2-0, lost in 6. Was that the injury one?
Yeah, that was the injury one where they all got injured, like boom, boom.
Okay. No, but Chris Paul and Blake Griffin both didn't finish that series, correct?
Pretty sure that's the one, yeah.
And then this year, 2021 versus Bucks, start 2-0, lost in 6. Unbelievably sorry that I feel for Chris Paul for this main reason. And this is something I'm sure you've heard other people say, but I don't care. It's the truth. You can't look at him and definitively say he'll have his other opportunity. He'll have another shot. Because the league's only going to get healthier, and everyone who didn't do well this year is looking at next year like, last year didn't even count. It was a bullshit year. We didn't even start on time. We didn't get any fucking rest. Fuck it. I'm LeBron James. I mean, I'm an NBA player, and I'm ready for this year. So
he's gonna be 36 next year. Like,
yeah, I can't even see.
This was literally his one and only chance at a championship. But my whole thing, and the reason I don't feel bad, is because you were given by the basketball gods multiple opportunities. You had an injured Lakers team, you had an injured Nuggets team, and you had an injured Clippers team. And it brought you to this moment. The basketball gods said, no more. You will face a healthy Giannis, and let's see how you do, motherfucker. And he said, I cannot do it, just like I could not do it for my entire career.
Hey, even though Drew Holiday, quote unquote, locked him up, 22 and 8, 55, 52, and 75 from the line. This is not horrible. It's really not.
I feel like there's something off here.
Look at his turnovers, though. Look how many turnovers he had.
21 in 6 games. Math, please.
21 in 6 games. That's
something.
That's about
just under 4.
Three and a half or something. Yeah.
So that's high for him, obviously.
Yeah, 3.5. Yeah. Yeah, 8 and 20 and yeah, that's.
Booker got to his 28. Ayton did his thing.
And he got it on 46% shooting like that. Usually it's on like 41. So
true.
He definitely did it. Yeah.
Not elite from 3, but you know,
he never really was that elite guy from 3.
This could be a thing where a heartbreaking loss leads them to a big win season next year. That's happened. We've talked about it 1,000 times. It's happened in history.
I feel like they had their big win season this year, though. I feel like they were like the strong regular season team.
But the whole thing is like to kick in with reality. Chris Paul's going to be 36 next year. Like most likely they might give him like a contract, like a bigger contract or something.
Ooh, that's nerve-wracking.
And I would not do it if I was them. No offense to Chris Paul.
They should do it. They have to do it, but they're going to do it. I agree with you.
But his player development is always going to be a thing. So he could always still develop Booker, and obviously Ayton played his best season ever.
Yeah, if Ayton's going to maintain, you want to talk about a guy who if he maintains this level of play past this playoffs, he's going to end up being a consistent all-star every single year. 100%.
Ayton should really, I know this sounds really weird, but I feel like he should really try to get into like talks with Charles Barkley, because his style of play like is not. I'm not saying obviously he's not big like Barkley, like heavy.
Yeah, I was gonna say Ayton's way bigger than Barkley.
Yeah, no, I meant like heavy like Barkley, but like their style, like the way they attack the basket and stuff and get rebounds, and like the energy he brings is very similar to what Charles would do, but obviously Charles would do it at a superstar level.
Hey, you know what I always say, my friend? You when you're a center and you play center in the NBA, it literally it's a doctor's order that you need to see Akeem Olajuwon.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So even if they don't know anything about post moves, even if you look at Ayton and you go, it's not a post up guy, if you learn one extra move from Hakeem Olajuwon, you could become a consistent all-star.
Yeah.
Like nothing can hurt from that.
Yeah.
Every single person that's seen him has gotten better after seeing him.
Yeah.
Last thing before we sign off. What are you most interested in as we head into the next season? What's your biggest theme heading into next year?
My biggest so because I obviously made the prediction about the Kobe Shaq thing with his box, is seeing that happen, and then them having to go against a healthy Brooklyn team in the next year's playoffs. I think that's going to be a very good series, and I hope it's not going to be like just Brooklyn dominates.
How it started, how this series started this year,
yeah,
where they just get slapped.
But that happened in every single, like when you look at it, that happened in every single one of their playoff series besides the Heat, and that's because they obviously went into that Heat series with a vengeance.
Yeah.
But other than that, they went down 2-0 against the Nets.
Not a great road team.
Yeah. And they showed like their record in games 3 through 7, and it was like 13-2.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy. So you're looking forward to Nets Bucks heading into next year. Yeah. Hey, dude, knowing the way the NBA is, that could be opening night. We could be sitting here getting prepared for that on opening night.
Yeah, but I don't care about. I care about the playoffs. Like that's always gonna matter. Like opening night is gonna be fun, obviously exciting.
Nah, those games matter when the teams first see each other after. Even in the regular season, that game's big.
That's always the Christmas game, though. That should be a Christmas.
Hey, it might be both. They're both Eastern Conference teams. So.
Yeah. If I was the NBA, take advantage of the hype on Christmas for sure, because that's going to be amazing.
And we'll get LA to start the year for sure. We'll get it as long as Kawhi and LeBron play in LA.
Yeah. Well, as long as Kawhi doesn't come to the real side of LA. Why you do that, boy? Just so you know.
Lindsay, what are you most looking forward to heading into next year? Because we're not going to talk about the regular season until we do team previews a little later this summer.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid continuing to be awesome, hopefully.
There we go. Back on the Embiid train.
But I'm really hoping that maybe Doc Rivers won't be the coach for the whole season. Like, I'm sure he's going to be there now, but I'm hoping he'll get fired.
Yeah. Maybe Joel will break out next season,
Yeah, Lindsay.
He already did that this season. He won the award. We talked about it.
Lindsay, here's what I want to know. What was it like when you were on your hands and knees cleaning the 76ers bandwagon because it was empty?
No. I think that there was someone else there with me. Yeah. So I wasn't alone. We got to sing the Bee Gees, actually.
Oh, there you go. Okay, well, that's cool. For me, I'm most interested to see who will make it through the minefield. There's literally 2 months off, and then we're right back. We're right back at it on Halloween.
But I do want to say, because I saw you wrote that in the group chat.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be what you think it's gonna be, because the minefield is not gonna be. I think it's not gonna be a condensed season. It's gonna be a normal regular season, just starting just to like make it so that every year after this it's back to normal. Like they have to start it then. So then, because if not, they're gonna have to just keep on condensing it. My only counter
to that would be
just low management. I think is gonna happen.
That's what I'm worried about. I wonder how many guys will even play 60 games this year.
I don't even care. I'd rather
care a lot.
I would rather them load manage, and then I get to see you in the playoffs. I don't give a shit about the regular season.
But this is the problem, though. In most of these scenarios, the teams that have load managed end up getting their guys hurt in the fucking playoffs, because you can't go from playing no basketball to playoff basketball in the NBA. That's the hardest basketball in the world.
65 games. That's okay.
I don't know, man. LeBron and Anthony Davis both rested that last month, for example, with the Lakers.
Yeah,
to try and get healthy. And they both ended up fucking getting hurt again.
Yeah, but that was because of injury. They didn't load manage. They had significant injury. AD had an Achilles injury.
No, I understand, but
I feel like Kawhi would be the better example of that.
Kawhi, he's another example.
Yeah, and that was still a freak injury. It was like, yeah, I mean, he's also brittle.
I have a question.
Okay.
What if they were to like load manage, but like it would be front heavy, so they load managed more at the beginning of the season, and then didn't load manage as much near the end?
That would be worse. That would be worse, I think. I would like them to load manage for the first couple months and then start kind of ramping it up towards the end.
After Christmas?
That's what I was saying, yeah. Load manage at the front of the season. Yeah, the front, so like the beginning of the season, the front of the season, you load manage.
Like load manage in the front and then play. Yeah, I agree. That's what I expect them to do. That's what a lot of teams did anyways. Like, if you looked at,
Brooklyn is another example of this, too.
Yeah. Brooklyn is the
load
big,
manage, and then they ended up getting hurt anyways.
Yeah, that I agree. That's the perfect example of that. I think what teams should do is, honestly, the first 15, 20 games really like go at like a marathon rate, and then the last 60 you start playing a little bit more normal, and then get your team ready for the playoffs by the time. Just like what Lindsay said, I think that's the perfect way to do it. In this season in particular, moving forward, it should just be freaking normal, or have an agreement in the collective bargaining agreement to where there's 70 games or something and lower pay. If you're gonna want to do that all the time, that's what y'all should do. You can't bitch about the games and then want the same money though.
As a historian of the game, I never want them to change the games. I just don't. But because that will kill these kids going forward against old heads who say they're not the same as they were when I was playing.
But Bill Russell,
Michael Jordan played 82.
Yeah, Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain and all of them, they played 73 games.
Yeah, but now the old heads are Jordans at this point, man. Like, Jordan got drafted 40 years ago. Yeah. They're going to say, Karl Malone played 82.
Yeah, no offense, they're not always right.
I'm just saying
12-hour days, and
it's bad for what we do. It's bad for what we do. They can't change it. They can't. They have to play.
I think that they should change it
for historical reasoning.
We'll figure it out. Literally, the world just has to learn how to adapt. We will adapt.
If Russell Westbrook, if somebody averages a triple-double with 60 games played, right? Russell Westbrook's triple-double is always going to be seen as more impressive because he played 80. Like, it's going to be stupid shit like that.
If you get the triple-double record with 50 games played, you still got more triple-doubles than Russell Westbrook did in his 80-game season. Like, that's more impressive to me. If you play 70 games and I got 55 triple-doubles in my 70 games, and Russell Westbrook had 48 triple-doubles in his 82 games, I'm looking at the guy that got 55 more. It's just adjusting. People have to learn how to adapt. If you can't adapt, you're not going to be human beings, unfortunately. Human beings have adapted throughout their whole. I'm not going to do a history lesson, but I just don't like records that can't be broken. Then it just makes me like we'll never see. Bill Russell's record can never be broken. The rebound. Sorry, is it Bill Russell or Will Chamberlain? One of the two can't be broken. The rebounds.
What about the 50 a game?
No, it's never gonna happen. Like you have records that are never gonna be broken anyways because
there's gonna be a guy who makes 10 threes a game and averages 30 just on threes and then comes in and destroys, and they'll be a 55 point per game scorer before.
Bro, the closest thing to that has been MJ's 37.
We're getting the fuck out of here because I'm creating more work than I need for myself.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, why is he adding on? I'm like, well, we can go all night if you want, but this is coming out on Thursday. The next day is my birthday. Wish me a happy birthday in the comments. Happy birthday, Rusty.
But for Apex Greatness, I'm Russell Broderick. That's Dario Albuquerque.
Good job, guys.
Off camera is Lindsay Lehman. Have an awesome rest of your summer, even though we'll be here doing Legacy Breakdowns.
Check him out.
Check them out. Check them out.
Bank, bank, bank. Check them out. Check them out.